My name is McCoy. I'm a doctor. You stay here with my friends. They'll take care of you.
We believe you have very little time left.
We appeal to you in the name of civilization. Put a stop to this. You're not of the body.
Peace.
You're not.
To you,
You're
friend.
not of the body.
Joy and front.
Lawgivers!
Peace.
Lawgivers! Traitors!
Help it. Treat it.
I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer.
You're a healer. There's a patient. That's an order. No, I'm all right.
If you keep arguing with your kindly family doctor, you're going to spend your next 10 days right here. If you cooperate, you'll be out in 2. What do you mean? What sort of work? I'm a doctor.
Not anymore, of course. We don't need you, not as a doctor.
Oh, no? You'd like to see just how fast I can put you in a hospital?
I am the leader of this colony. I'll assign you to whatever work I think is suitable.
Just a minute. You better make me a mechanic. Then I can treat little tin gods like you.
Doctor, I think I'll return to my station now.
You are at your station, Mr. Spock.
Dr. McCoy, I believe you're enjoying all this.
Indeed, Captain. I've never seen him look so happy.
Shut up.
Well, what do you know? I finally got the last word.
Well, we're back for another Trekporeal episode. This one was a request from my special guest and the commander, the captain of Tuesday Night Trek, and the rewatch of the original series with his younger brother. I want to welcome Captain Paul of the Star Wars guys. Hello there.
How are you?
Doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I really liked that intro. You know, the whole Trekporeal stuff. Can I get you to make something like that for Tuesday Night Trek at some point?
Yeah, sure. If you want me to.
All right.
I charge the joke between me and a few other YouTubers now is we're talking about creamy donuts. So I have to charge you at least a dozen of donuts.
I don't have creamy donuts. All I have is gold pressed latinum.
Okay. So Paul, Paul, it's been a while since you've been on the channel.
Mm-hmm.
I know you've been doing a lot of stuff. You've been doing you've been doing I think you've been doing a lot of chill streams, playing your guitar. Yeah. Show everybody your guitar.
Okay, I'll be right back. I actually just put it over here on the stand after I was done stringing it.
So I want to say hello to whoever's. I want to say hello who's in the chat right now. So we got Slasher Fred. Welcome. I love that. Remember, he's a doctor, not a YouTube chatter. That's right. Mm-hmm. We got Magitech Mags here. We got Decepticon Caves of Villains. We got my streaming brother from another mother, Prophet of the Dragon. And we got Nosferatu the Vampire. You guys are awesome. I love you guys. So, Paul, you've been playing. Backstage, you were playing the Inner Light theme a little bit. So,
trying to
play a little bit of it. I want the chat to hear.
Give me a second. Keep in mind, this is a work in progress. I'm still not fully up to snuff with it yet. But here is what I have of it so far. That's just a little bit of it.
Such a beautiful theme. I don't care how rusty anybody is. It's just hearing it in whatever form is just it. I mean, my eyes are glassy now just thinking about it. So it's one of my favorite themes. It's one of my favorite Trek themes of all time. So when they included it for the 50th anniversary, when I actually saw it live, it was, I'll be honest, it was a very, listening to the music from this series was a very emotional moment for me. So so we're here to talk about, you want to talk about McCoy. You really love the character of Leonard McCoy. I want to know why.
I do.
What do you like about Leonard McCoy?
And again, this kind of goes back to something that we were talking about backstage before the stream. I've said multiple times that I switch back and forth between Kirk, Spock, and McCoy as to which one of them is my favorite, when in reality, it's a three-way tie between. But today is Dr. McCoy's day because I like, number one, DeForest Kelley and his performance that he gives to Dr. McCoy gives him an aura of relatableness where, he's, for lack of a better term, he's looking at it from the everyman perspective. We were talking backstage about how both Spock and McCoy are intended to be Kirk's closest advisors. And of course, Spock being a Vulcan, he's going to give the very logical point of view, whereas McCoy is intended to give the very human point of view. And he does that very, very well. And DeForest Kelley is the biggest reason for that.
Oh yeah, I mean, just exactly as you said, McCoy brings in the the implications of the pragmatism that comes out of Spock, and there's so many times where they've had to call Spock out on some of the things he said, and plus the fact that they misunderstood him on several grounds, especially in the Galileo 7 episode, where they thought he wanted to leave someone behind. But when he was saying that, he was talking about himself. He wasn't talking about anyone else in particular. So, but that was McCoy getting a lot of crap. That was probably one of the few episodes I actually found McCoy to be more insufferable than usual. So, especially when he's like, Spock, I'm sick and tired of your logic. He's like, well, that's the most illogical attitude. I love that response though. But let's get started. So before I want to say anything, I want to say hello to Anono Moss. He says, hey to you and Magitech Mag. So he doesn't say hello to me. Oh, he does. He's like, I'm here for a little while. Oh my God, Anono Moss is here.
I gotta do it. Anonymous. Do 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 do. Anonymous. Do 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 do. You're welcome, Pacific and Phil.
Yep, there you go. And of course, hello to Positive Candor. So I'm curious what Negative Candor would say. I'll leave that to your imagination. So
fair enough.
So let's start with your number 5. So what is your so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say number 5. You're going to say what your number 5 moment is, and then I'm going to show a clip, and then we'll discuss.
All right, sounds good. So my number 5 comes from the episode Space Seed, and it is when McCoy is examining an at the time unconscious Khan Noonien Singh, having just rescued him from his ship, and all of a sudden Khan springs to life and he's holding a scalpel to McCoy's throat, and he has a hand on him, and he says, well, either choke me or cut my throat. Make up your mind.
All right, let's show that right now. Click.
Well, either choke me or cut my throat. Make up your mind. English. I thought I dreamed hearing it. Where am I? You're it. You're in bed, holding a knife at your doctor's throat. Answer my question. It would be most effective if you would cut the carotid artery just under the left ear. I like like a brave man.
So the reason I chose this, again, kind of goes back to another thing that we were discussing backstage before the show. You were talking to me about how Carl Urban's version of McCoy in the JJ movies, whether they intended this or not, kind of came off as kind of cowardly, and that's not McCoy at all. And this scene is a great example of proving that, because here he is again. He's got a hand around his throat, a scalpel to his jugular, and he's not even bothering to beg for his life. It's like, okay, you want to kill me? Which one are you going to go for? And oh, and by the way, here's where you should cut me. Instead of being like, please don't kill me, I'll tell you whatever you want.
The carotid artery just under the left ear. Yeah, that's just so badass. Like, I'd be like, ugh. I'd be panicking, I'd be freaking out to the point where Khan would have to calm me down. That's how much of a dork I am compared to DeForest Kelly's Dr. McCoy.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that I think pissed a lot of people. I don't know if that was something that's not really a major thing, but I think that's something that people did complain about the JJ films. So, but yeah, so that, yeah, I loved Space Seed. I mean, that episode was just brilliant. I mean, everybody had something to do. Even Uhura had something to do. She got smacked. She got smacked in that episode. Even she had something to do, and she did. So she had to, turn on the view screen. And when you don't turn on the view screen, you get smacked. So it's terrible. And I remember, I love that moment where I think Spock and McCoy, they both reacted exactly the same. Even though Spock is supposed to be the dispassionate logic one, he reacted like a human. If you take a close look, and what's funny was the extras did not react. That's why they're extras. They don't get paid enough to act like that. So,
right.
But that was Space Seed, and of course, Slasher Fred says, my number 5 is the episode where the actor that playing a part in Hamlet is suspected to be a cold-blooded killer named Kodos. Wait a minute, like Kodos was an alien in The Simpsons from the Treehouse of Horror specials. But yeah, that's a great episode too. Conscience of the King, great episode.
It is. And another thing about that scene, in it, by McCoy showing that bravery, Khan says it himself. I like a brave man. That, in a way, he almost earns a sort of respect from Khan for not flinching in the face of death.
Which is something that's not easily earned, especially with what we know about Khan. He's a cruel dictator who took over a quarter of Earth from Asia to the Middle East. Yeah, I'm literally speaking line for line what they say in the episode. So, but yeah, that's okay. That's a great clip. If I had to choose a number 5, I probably would choose. I would probably choose the moment. I really like the moment where McCoy. Remember that moment where McCoy meets Doc Holliday?
Yes.
And I included that in my opening, so I don't have a clip for it. But like, he's like, my name is McCoy. I felt that was the perfect way to open this. Was, my name is McCoy. I'm a doctor. And he's like, and then he goes into the dentist's office and he thinks, and he's getting a shave and everything. And he thinks the guy that's giving him the shave is the dentist. It's not. It's the guy. It's the guy in the chair. And that was Doc Holliday. And Doc Holliday's like, take it all. We're going to be shooting you in a few days. So, yeah. I like how they made the Earps the villains in that episode. That was Spectre of the Gun. So
it was. And I'm looking forward to seeing Michael's reaction when we get there on Revisited.
Okay. So what's your number 4?
Number 4 comes from the episode Friday's Child, and a little bit of history about this episode before I explain the specific moment. They're on this one planet. I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's a planet that has this these people that are humanoid, but are bigger and stronger than the average person, and have a very primitive way of thinking. And this was a place that McCoy had been to before, so he already knew how their customs worked and was there sort of guiding Kirk and Spock through it. Well, the Klingons are there also, and through a series of unfortunate events, the Klingons actually managed to turn the people against Kirk and McCoy, but in their escape to the mountains, they end up taking this one woman who had been part of the previous royal family and had gotten spurned.
Yeah, Julie Newmar's character.
Yep.
I was just going to say, I think what they did with the Capellans, we had this very strict honor code, they had this honor, they're big on combat. I think what they did, and it's funny, is the Klingons were in this episode. Original series, the Klingons were more like, your oppression, your dictators, your totalitarian society, your totalitarian 1984 society. What's funny is, in the Next Generation, because of writers like Ronald D. Moore and everybody, they changed that to where the Klingons were more honorable and more warrior-like than what they originally were depicted. And what the way the Klingons were originally depicted ended up, I think, becoming the Cardassians.
Right. And
yeah.
And I think that was a great improvement in all aspects. But my favorite moment specifically is when the woman who is expecting a child any moment and also has an injured arm, and McCoy is trying to examine her to fix her arm, but she's not letting him. And he says, "Look, you may be a Capellan woman and the daughter of a high tier, but I'm a doctor, and it's my tradition."
Let's let the clip speak for itself.
Go ahead.
Listen, you may be a Capellan woman and the widow of a high tier, but I'm a doctor, and it's my tradition to care for the sick and injured. Now let me see that arm.
That's not.
That could never be made today. That could never be made today.
That's not quite the moment I was thinking. What's actually on my list is the moment after that where he slaps her. But that's part of it too.
I'm not gonna show. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then immediately after that, as they're in the cave, Kirk comes in, is like, how'd you get her to let you touch her? And he's like, I gave her a right cross. And Kirk's like, that's not any medical book I know of. And he's like, it's in mine now. I chose this just because it's funny. Obviously, hitting women is not funny, but the context of the show, and just the way it happened was funny.
Yeah, I'm seeing if I have the first one. There was one. This wasn't the right cross. I made the wrong scene. I wasn't sure what you were meaning, but this was a clip that I really liked from McCoy. McCoy kind of stepped up in this because usually he's second fiddle after Kirk, or third fiddle after Kirk and Spock. But here, this was a moment for him to shine. This was pretty cool right here. So I'll show this.
Their customs are different, Tier.
And different from those of my people too, Tier. The sight of death frightens them.
Let me take this, John. What Ma'ab has said is true. Our customs are different. What the Klingon has said is unimportant, and we do not hear his words. I just called the Klingon a liar.
Yeah, that was
nice.
Awesome. So the fact that I had to look for your clip, I saw that scene. I was like, you know what, I'm going to clip this anyway. So it was a blast because I've not seen Friday's Child as much as I've seen episodes like Space Seed and the episodes I used to own VHS. This was actually something I didn't see until I owned the DVDs, and that was years after I started collecting the VHSs. So, but yeah, I liked this. Was a good episode. It was it was one of those episodes. I'm like, why doesn't the Prime Directive apply here? And it's because they want something. I don't remember if it was dilithium crystals that the planet had that both them and the Klingons wanted, which was why they were there in the first place. And they're like, if you let us dig all this, we'll build hospitals for you. We'll do this, and that was kind of against their culture. They believe, warriors' death, and mercy is for the weak. Sorry, I'm bringing a Cobra Kai into this.
All right.
But we got I got a super chat from Salty Texas C, $1.49. I don't know what it is because I don't have the YouTube open. So, but thank you for that. Everybody subscribe to Salty Texas C. So
yes.
Oh, by the way, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button, and if you're interested, become a member of the Nerdporeal Continuum. Become a member of the Nerdporeal Continuum. Hit that join button. Okay, that's it. That's enough showing for myself. So
all right.
So that was your number 4. I thought it was that was pretty good. So then I kind of ask, what is your number 3?
Number 3 comes from the episode City on the Edge of Forever, and it's the scene where McCoy has officially arrived in 1930s New York. He's all high from taking a full injection of whatever that substance was right into the guts. And he looks bad. He's all pale. He's got blotches on his face.
Like
and he
in the
comes across
background?
this, and he comes across this one drunk guy, and he just starts going off about what planet is this, and then just starts fantasizing about what the hospitals might look like.
So I made I was going to make a separate clips, but I just put them all together. I made a montage of McCoy being crazy. So chat, are you ready for it? There was a creepy moment where I was considering putting it in, but I was like, nah. Remember how he creeps up on the poor Lieutenant Kyle? Just that guy can never get a break. He's in the transporter room. He's always getting hit, and so they could take the transporter down and everything. It's like being a messenger during the Middle Ages. You don't know if you're going to get
that is
you never know if you're going to get you never know if you're going to get killed or something for delivering a bad message. So let's see, McCoy. Did I not put it in? Choke me or cut my Cordrazine McCoy. All right, that's what it's called. Cordrazine McCoy. Here we go.
Killers! Assassins! I won't let you! I'll kill you first! I won't let you! You won't get me! Murderers! Killers! Killers! I won't let you get me! I'll kill you first! I won't let you get assassins! Murderers! Killers! Dr. McCoy! Bones, no! Assassins! Murderers! Murderers! Assassins! You! What planet is this?
Very, very good. Oh, I'd give a lot to see the hospital. Probably needles and sutures.
Oh, the pity. These had to cut and sew people like garments. Needles and sutures. Oh, pity.
Jim, don't leave him in the hands of 20th century medicine. The sutures, they're stitching them up. Jeez. It just I love that. I feel the Star Trek 4 with the whole what I just said, I think kind of built off of that's how he truly feels. That's what happens when you get drugged up. You kind of bring up some personal insecurities. I feel that's one of them. So
yeah,
I mean, wouldn't you be scared of 20th century medicine? I would be.
And I chose this because you see a side of DeForest Kelley's acting in this role that you don't usually see, because usually, McCoy, he's very professional. Again, he gives the more emotional side of a situation to Kirk, but he's still very professional about it. But you hardly ever see him to steal a line from Turnabout Intruder. You never see him go complete stark raven mad.
Yeah, that was what made this episode really unique when I first saw it. So I did not see this coming. It was so weird, and just how he was walking like a zombie towards Lieutenant Kyle and just giving him the karate chop, knocking him out. That's a really creepy scene. I watched it and I was a little unsettled. And he's just slowly creeping up with his eyes wide open and everything. But yeah, it's just I like how he's chasing the dude, the homeless dude, the toxic male homeless dude who Kirk tells to shut up earlier in that episode. He's just he's touching his head. He's like, ooh, good cranial development. If only this was real, because he believes this is all. I think he believes this is all an illusion or an elaborate trap set up by Kirk and the company. So who knows what he's truly thinking. So, yeah. I like how they bring up Scotty's bringing up Emery Dax. That's something that's going to be revealed later in Trials and Tribulations. You're familiar with that episode, right? You have. I know you haven't.
I've heard of it. I know what the premise is, but I'm not even close to that yet.
Yeah, so we won't talk about that. But let's just say Jadzia somehow knows McCoy.
Okay.
So that's your number 3, huh? What was so here's a clip I really liked. Let me see if I got it here. One clip I really liked was this is from the movies. This was McCoy and his father. So I'll just show it right here.
You call this alive?
Son, release me.
I can't do that, Dad. But how can I watch him suffer like this? Long after they found a cure. A goddamn cure!
So if you hadn't killed him, he might have lived.
No! I love my father. I released him!
Then you did what you thought was right.
Yes! No! Yes!
Release this pain! Release it!
Just another element of DeForest Kelley, even in the 80s. I mean, he was getting up there in age, and I think at that point, he started getting sick. Like, he was sick during the making of Star Trek 6. Like, they had to really convince the insurance company to let him work. And then once Generations was being produced, they wouldn't let him act because of how sick he got. So I don't know if it was the cancer that he ultimately died of. He had stomach cancer. That's what ultimately killed him in 1999. But he was he still brought some really brilliant acting. And my number 1 is another scene with him in the movies, and it's one of those scenes that's really emotional. Not as emotional as Star Trek 2, but you'll know what I mean. So
of course.
So we did number 3.
Yes.
So what's your number 2?
So in truth, my number 2 and my number 1 could be interchangeable, because these are both great scenes for very different reasons, because 2 entirely different things are happening here. But for the sake of this list, my number 2, and hello to Brandon the anime guy, my number 2 comes from Balance of Terror, and it's a private conversation that Kirk and McCoy are having, where Kirk is unsure of what to do next in this confrontation that he's had with the Romulans. And I believe you have the clip ready?
I do. But do you know why he's feeling this way? Do you know why he's laying down? Like, do you know the context of what happened in the previous scene? So what happened in the previous
they
lost the Romulans. Like, they had them, but then the Romulans sent out their debris and they were gone. And so there was the possibility that if the Romulans get away, that they would have to go to war. That the Romulans would take that as a sign that the Federation is ripe for the taking, and then they'd go to war over that. And the thing that Kirk wanted to do, or the thing that Kirk was most worried about, was if they do go to war, it's going to cost countless lives. So everything he did, like, he was super duper. Like, I'm like, well, you know what? I'm just gonna play it right here. So, all right, here we go.
Why me? I look around that bridge. I see the men waiting for me to make the next move. And Bones, what if I'm wrong?
Captain, I don't really expect an answer.
But I've got one. Something I seldom say to a customer, Jim. In this galaxy, there's a mathematical probability of 3 million Earth-type planets. And in all of the universe, 3 million galaxies like this. And in all of that, and perhaps more, only one of each of us. Don't destroy the one named Kirk.
It's such a great scene.
Yeah, it's a personal favorite of mine too. I'm going to say this. This is my number 2 as well. So you and I are in the same boat on this one.
Yeah.
Just the fact that McCoy. So I mean, I've said this in previous chats on your channel, on this channel. The network wanted a chaplain type of character for Star Trek. They felt like, on a ship, you're going out there in the unknown, especially in the void of space. People might have emotional problems and everything, and you need someone there to kind of talk to people. I mean, they eventually solved that with having a ship's counselor, but the network, this was the 60s. They wanted to have a chaplain. Of course, everybody knows, how Gene Roddenberry felt about religion. So he kind of pushed away the idea of a chaplain. But at the same time, McCoy kind of was that chaplain, at least for Kirk. Maybe not for the rest of the crew, but he also kind of played the role of the chaplain for Kirk, for Kirk to look to, in case when he was getting when he had his own doubts, and even because the top is lonely. You're the captain. You can't fraternize with your crew. You can't come off as weak. You're the captain. You have to be, as Spock says, you have to be nothing less than perfect. Which is, I think, something that New Trek lacks, especially Strange New Worlds, the way they depict Pike and how he's more of a friend boss to all the female characters, and they're speaking out of turn, or they're speaking up to him. I'm just like this Kirk, Shatner's Kirk, Picard, Sisko, even Janeway would have never allowed that. Archer too. All those 5 captains would have never allowed that shit. Excuse my language. Sorry, I know you don't like to hear swearing.
Like I said, man.
Even on my channel, I want to respect how you're pretty strict. You're pretty strict on your. I wouldn't say strict, but you're pretty clear on your channel what you want to hear. So I want to respect that.
But I think you also owe Brandon an apology for mentioning New Trek, because he's going off in the chat.
Yeah, Brandon. I will look you directly in the eye, and I'll say I take responsibility. I do that all the time whenever I'm wrong. So Brandon, member, thanks for being here. Anybody subscribe to Brandon the Anime Guy, subscribe to Prophet of the Dragon, subscribe to Salty Texas Sea, all great channels. They make great content, and I'm a member of all 3. So definitely they all have unique things to add. So definitely support them if you can. But Balance of Terror is most people's number 1 TOS episode, I think.
Yes. And it's definitely, it's not my number 1, but it's definitely up there for me. My number 1 still remains Corbomite Maneuver.
Okay. Yeah, Corbomite Maneuver is definitely the show that really, really introduces what Star Trek is all about, and what I think is probably the most potent, probably the most impactful episode.
Right.
So I want to say hello to Christian DeLorme. He says, "This is great, guys. Well, thank you for being here. You are awesome." And I also want to say hello to just another retro. I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome. Thanks for being here. And of course, Anono Mas is here. Oh my God, Anono Mas is here.
We already said hello to him.
Now. Huh?
We already said hello to him.
I know. I'm saying hello to him again because I'm starstruck. I have to be starstruck. So all right. So we did number 2. So what? So you want to do special mentions, right?
Yes, and it's funny we mentioned Corbomite Maneuver, because that's one of my honorable mentions, where it's the scene, and I didn't have this initially on my list, but you said you had thrown in a clip from Corbomite Maneuver, and I'm going to guess that it's the scene where Kirk and McCoy are in the turbo lift and they're talking, and then it transitions to them in the captain's quarters talking, right?
Well, I didn't include that. I just included them on the turbo lift. So
okay.
So so I didn't I probably should have included what am I, a doctor or a moon shuttle conductor? I didn't include that, so that's on me once again. But I did include that particular clip, and it's just, to me, that kind of sets that just gives you, that sets up McCoy is he's a friend. He's more of a he's a friend and a mentor to Kirk. Like, he's the one person who can tell Kirk if he's slipping, or if he's mistaken in his task. ultimately, especially when it comes to Lieutenant Bailey, who is, he's a young junior officer. Who McCoy feels Kirk promoted too fast because Kirk saw something in him that he had when he was a kid, or when he was a kid that himself. So he saw something in him that he saw in himself. So I'll share this right now, actually. So that one is Corbomite. Let me see if I find it. Corbomite, McCoy and Corbomite. Here it is. Wait, sorry.
Men are tired.
Captain's quarters. Aren't you the one that always says a little suffering is good for the soul?
I never said that.
This is the bridge. Prepare for simulated attack.
I'm especially worried about Bailey. Navigator's position's rough enough. Seasoned man.
I think he'll cut it.
How so sure? Because you spotted something you liked in him? Something familiar, like yourself, say about 11 years ago?
On the double, Deck 5. Give me a green light.
Why, Doctor, you've been reading your textbooks again?
I don't need textbooks to know that you could have promoted him too fast. Listen to that voice.
Condition alert. Battle stations.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great scene. And real quick in the chat, what Brandon just said here, he can call out Kirk on his poop emoji when needed.
Yeah.
A great example of that, and this is not part of my honorable mentions, but a great example of that is in Turnabout Intruder, when, of course, by now, Kirk has been taken over by that other evil woman, and McCoy suspects that something's wrong, and he's like, I need you to come in and take part in a complete physical examination, and I have the right to call you to do that as ship surgeon. I can request a complete physical examination of any crew member that I have doubts about, including the captain.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, there was one other thing I forgot to bring up that was pretty apparent, at least in this recent listening to that scene in Balance of Terror. There was he says I seldom say to my customers, which to me, when he says he's like, I have something to say, and there's something I seldom say to customers, or something along those lines. And it just reminded me of The Cage, or the Menagerie, when Pike is in the quarters and Boyce comes and brings him I think a warm martini or something, and he says, people will tell things to their bartender that they would never say to their doctor. It kind of made me to me, it harkened back to that scene. So and once again, Boyce is the original McCoy.
Yes.
I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say the real McCoy, but he was the original McCoy. So
yes. And another great example of that is in the episode The Ultimate Computer, where Kirk feels he's getting replaced by this computer that Mr. Daystrom came up with, and he and McCoy are having a drink over it, and Kirk toasts and says, "To Captain Dunsel," and McCoy stops him and says, "To James T. Kirk, Captain of the Enterprise."
Yeah. I learned something that, like, Captain Dunsel's like a Starfleet Academy term that everybody has heard or picked up on. So the thing that kind of brings up about McCoy, and the reason why I know this, because I read the Memory Alpha about McCoy just like an hour ago. He wasn't familiar with it, so I'm guessing originally he was supposed to be like an enlistee, and so he didn't really quite go to the academy. So maybe you guys in the chat will be able to elaborate on that. So, but yeah, pop culture curator, I agree. McCoy was the best Doctor of Star Trek.
I agree.
Those are not fighting words. Like I totally agree. I mean, I like EMH. Dr. Phlox has his moments. He's a wacky alien. Beverly is nice. Beverly's nice, and Bashir's. I like Bashir too.
I like Bashir also. So of what I've seen of Star Trek so far, here's how I would rank the Doctors. Dr. McCoy, obviously number one. Then Beverly.
Dr. Pulaski.
We don't talk about that. And then Dr. Bashir below Beverly.
Okay. That makes sense. So you had do you have any other I'm sure you have plenty of other.
I do. I have two more. I'm going to kind of go out of order from how I have them listed here. The next honorable mention I want to talk about actually comes from The Next Generation, from the episode Encounter at Farpoint. and it's McCoy, who is now Admiral McCoy, a much older man, and he has that conversation with Data, and he's amazed at how Data is able to remember stuff. And I'm sure you have the clip ready now, right?
I'll be honest, Data's like the only character in Next Generation who has interacted with Spock, McCoy, and even Scotty. Barely, but I remember what Scotty says after he encounters him. He's like, synthetic alcohol, synthetic people.
Yes.
You've seen Relics, right?
I have, yes.
Okay. All right. I hope I
and
wasn't
hot
spoiling
and
something.
hot take. Scotty got treated the best out of all the TOS cast on the Next Generation. As far as basically, he was the only one that got to see the recreation of the Enterprise bridge on the holodeck. McCoy didn't, and Spock didn't. Now, Spock, obviously, they had a limited time with Leonard Nimoy, I know, but it would have been cool to see Spock, interact in some way with the old Enterprise bridge. And I can see where you're coming from with that, Brandon, but I disagree. But that's okay. We all have our opinions.
Yeah, pop culture thinks she was the worst actress. Well, she got fired. She got fired after season 1. So, but I thought it was because Maurice Hurley was a dick. Excuse my language. Especially the season 1 and season 2. So, and then they got rid of him. They brought Gates McFadden back. So, all right. So we got that. What did I bring anything else in here? Let me see. So I know what your number 1 is. We won't get to that yet.
Did you grab the clip of Data and McCoy and Encounter at Farpoint?
Oh, I did. Yeah, let's do that. All right, 1, 2, 10.
But the Admiral is a rather remarkable man.
Have you got some reason you want my atoms scattered all over space, boy?
No, sir. But at your age, sir, I thought you shouldn't have to put up with the time and trouble of a shuttlecraft.
Hold it right there, boy.
Sir?
What about my age?
Sorry, sir. If that subject troubles you.
Troubles me? What's so damn troublesome about not having died? How old do you think I am anyway?
137 years, Admiral, according to Starfleet records.
Explain how you remember that so exactly.
I remember every fact I'm exposed to, sir.
I don't see no points on your ears, boy. But you sound like a Vulcan.
No, sir. I'm an android.
Almost as bad.
I thought it was generally accepted, sir, that Vulcans are an advanced and most honorable race.
They are. And damn annoying at times.
Yes, sir.
Well, this is a new ship, but she's got the right name. Now, you remember that, you hear?
I will, sir.
You treat her like a lady. And she'll always bring you home.
And that, sadly, chronologically, is the last time that we ever see Dr. McCoy, except for this comic book right here. It's just a shame it's not canon.
There are so many. Well, there's books. There's a series, a Star Trek series I read when I was in high school. It was called Double Helix, and it takes place over the course of all the eras of original of Trek, not just original, but like TNG, DS9. And there was one where it starred Admiral McCoy and Ambassador Spock. So we got to see both of them in a book.
I have that one. I haven't read it yet because it's supposed to take place after the TNG show ended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So McCoy is 144 in that book.
Mm-hmm. And my third honorable mention, and I'm throwing this one in purely for the sake of one person. We all know who this man is, Mr. Phil McCracken. So, Phil, here you go. Here is your hashtag justice for Star Trek V. My number 1 honorable mention is, Jim, you don't ask the Almighty for his ID.
There's a little bit more to it, but here, I'll show you what I clipped or what I made.
doing? I'm asking you a question.
Jim, you don't ask the Almighty for his ID. I doubt any god who inflicts pain for his own pleasure.
Yeah.
But yeah, Phil, I threw that one in there just for you. But here's the thing. In all seriousness, those are great lines from Dr. McCoy there. It's just they're overshadowed by, excuse me, I just have a question. What does God need with a starship? Everyone focuses on that line, and they forget about what McCoy says around it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What are you talking about, Anonymous? He's not even here.
Okay, it's called Red Sector. Yeah, the book I'm talking about, the Double Helix book, is called Red Sector, Brandon. So yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. That's the one I read. It's actually it's a series. Like I don't know the who the ultimate villain is because they got away. So it's like a 6-book series. So yeah, but yeah, that was my first movie. That was my first original. That was probably my first original series movie. So that Star Trek V has a lot of nostalgia for me. Is it the best movie?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. But
No.
do I like it? Yes, I like it a lot.
And I'm going to go one
further.
further. And I'm going to go one further and say this: is it deserving of all of the hate that it gets? No.
No. But the criticisms, there are criticisms that that are I understand totally.
Mhm.
And Anono Moss, I must have said something wrong because Anono Moss has to leave me. I can change Anono Moss. I can change. You don't have to leave me. But yeah,
Yes.
thanks for being here. Thanks for being here, Anono Moss.
Absolutely.
Hey, Scotty agrees. Trek 5 rules. I like Scotty.
Absolutely.
He's pretty. Him and Pop Culture Curator and Anti-Derivative Joe. They have a great show. I forget what day they do. I think it's Tuesdays or Wednesdays. I think I've been unavailable during the day. They do it. I think usually during the day, 1 or 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and they've been going through the original series. They've been going through. I think they got up to Mary or something. So
okay,
but yeah, definitely they subscribe to each of them. They all have their own channels and check out their streams. They do some really great breakdowns. So
Scott AR37, DM me on Twitter after this. I'm gonna put in the chat real quick what my handle is on Twitter. DM me after this. I wanna chat with you a little bit. So give me 1 second. So while I'm doing this, do you want to go ahead and get into number 1?
Let me see if I have anything else to show. I did McCoy. Don't destroy the one named Kirk. I did that. Quartersing we did. Right Cross. Did that. Points. Okay. Yeah, I guess let's go to number 1.
All right, number 1. And my number 1 comes from the episode Bread and Circuses. This is the one where they find themselves on another alternate Earth that showed what if the Roman Empire had never fallen and progressed through the 20th century. And so now it's like the Roman style of government, but modern technology. And they're showing things like gladiator fights and executions on live TV. McCoy, Kirk, and Spock get captured, and McCoy and Spock are forced to be gladiators, and they had just been through a fight against other opponents, and now they're both in this jail cell, and I believe you have the clip ready, so we'll let the rest play out.
Yep. I'll be honest, yeah, Spock was owning it in the televised gladiatorial arena, whereas McCoy was barely. McCoy has no skill in sword fighting, so he's just defending the whole time.
One of the things,
help, Doctor. Whatever gave you that idea? I've never heard anything stupid in my life.
One other thing to mention before you play. Throughout the whole show, of course, being that McCoy and Spock have different outlooks, they tend to have a lot of banter with each other. But in this particular episode, up until this scene that we're about to play, the banter is especially strong with each other. Like, McCoy is seriously getting annoyed with Spock until this scene happens.
All right, so I didn't didn't include the entire thing. I just included some. I cut it up so for the sake of not getting, you know. So here it is.
Of course.
Go.
Well, what I'm trying to say is you saved my life in the arena.
Yes, that's quite true.
I'm trying to thank you, you pointed-eared hobgoblin.
Oh, yes, you humans have that emotional need to express gratitude. You're welcome, I believe, is the correct response. However, Doctor, you must remember that I'm entirely motivated by logic. The loss of our ship's surgeon, whatever I may think of his relative skill, would mean a reduction in the efficiency of the Enterprise, and therefore...
No, why? You're not afraid to die, Spock. You're more afraid of living. Each day you stay alive is just one more day you might slip and let your human half peek out. That's it, isn't it? And security. Why, you wouldn't know what to do with a genuine, warm, decent feeling.
We got smacked.
Oh, we did?
We got smacked. They're saying it in the chat.
Oh, okay. So I'm curious. So does that mean like we went dark or something?
Let me pull up the stream on my end so I can see what's going on. Yeah, it says stream suspended for policy violations right now.
Oh, okay. I knew I probably shouldn't have showed too much.
It does come back though. I've had this happen before, so give it a moment. But
Let's play the waiting.
Let's play the waiting game.
Yeah, let's engage the chat. What are your favorite McCoy moments?
Yeah.
Triforce. Yeah. Brandon put up a bunch of emojis. Let us know when. All right, let me see.
I'll be able to see it when we come back.
Okay, so you have the thing up right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Follows you on the tweets. There you go.
Yep.
Stream suspended for policy violations. Yikes. Okay, so it's still up. It's still kind of up. It's just... Oh.
Yeah. I think we're back. I see us now on the stream. So, can you guys... Oh, hold on a second. Oh, okay, so Nerdporeal's mic is acting up. So, let me explain. Now that we're back, hello, everyone. Thank you for being patient with us. Here is why that scene is my favorite. And I'll recap it myself for whatever was missing. So, for those that weren't able to see it, Spock is trying his best to figure out a way to get out of the cell. McCoy's trying to thank him for saving his life in the arena. and it's pretty much going over Spock's head because he's so logically minded. And that's where we get the line of, "I'm trying to thank you, you pointy-eared hobgoblin." And Spock's like, "Oh yes, you humans do have that that necessity to thank someone. You're welcome is the proper response." And he's like, "But you have to know that I'm a Vulcan, and that means nothing to me." Are you back, Nerdporeal?
I am, stupid Mike.
I gotcha.
Not
Yeah, I'm
specific. I'm not talking about you, or am I? No, but no. But yeah, my mic. I don't know. My mic is super sensitive. I moved my cable and it just went, and then it switched to another audio. I tried unhooking the USB and everything. So, all right. So I'll just say what my number one is.
Can I finish Can I finish talking about mine first?
Oh, you didn't finish? Sorry.
Yeah, I was recapping what they might have missed in that clip. So basically, McCoy ends up cornering Spock in the cell, saying, "You know why it is that you're not afraid to die? It's because you're more scared of living, being that you're half Vulcan. You're scared and insecure about your human half, and the longer you're alive, the greater a chance you have of letting it slip through. Quote, why you wouldn't know what to do with a good, decent feeling if it slapped you across your face." But immediately after he says that very harsh truth,
he's like, "Really?"
Spock, he softens his tone and says, "Don't worry. I'm worried about the captain too." So that is their relationship, just in one scene right there, where they disagree on a lot of things. But at the end of the day, McCoy is just as much Spock's friend as Kirk is, and vice versa.
Yeah,
and
totally. I love that.
Yeah, and in my opinion, it is the best scene involving McCoy.
Yeah, let me see how long mine is. I don't think mine's too long. I think I can get away with this. So, my favorite is actually another scene between Spock and McCoy. It's probably one scene that's probably the most poignant in their friendship, and I think it works perfectly. It's a beautiful scene. Every time I see it, I do shed some tears. So here we go. So and hopefully I don't get nuked this time, but we'll see. It's only 23 seconds.
I'm going to tell you something that I never thought I'd ever hear myself say. But it seems I've missed you. I don't know if I could stand to lose you again.
Yeah. That's a great scene right there. From Spock, for those that are unfamiliar.
Yeah, this was from Search for Spock, and this was shortly after they recovered him from Genesis. So it was Wrath of Khan is considered one of the greatest films of all time, one of the greatest science fiction films of all time. 3, even though 3 had a lot to live up to after Wrath of Khan. I think 3 did is 3 as good? No, but 3 had its own. Kirk had another great arc in Star Trek 3. And it was another emotional roller coaster ride for him and for us, the audience. And because of what he ended up enduring more stuff. I'm not gonna say the SH word. He ended up enduring more stuff in this movie, stuff that might have pissed certain members of the audience off because of how they kind of undid some of the things that Wrath of Khan, started. So like they undid things and kind of went back to normal almost. So
right,
like Kirk not having a son before, now he has a son. Well, now the son's dead, which is messed up. And then Spock being dead is now all of a sudden back to life. So it's like almost like they restored the status quo of Kirk not having a son and having Spock again. So
yeah,
because that was the one thing that's one of my good friends reacted to the movie that way. And to be honest, I thought about it. I was like, yeah, you're not wrong there. But at the same time, I still love the movie. It's weird.
Yeah. And as someone that has really only been into Star Trek for a year and some change now, and has pretty much seen everything in quick succession, it doesn't bother me in the slightest. 2, 3, and 4 of the movies is a perfect trilogy. or as perfect as you're going to get as from what I've seen so far of Star Trek, the movies.
Yeah, I agree. It's the Star Trek trilogy, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say thank you, Scotty, for coming by. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And Salty says McCoy is the true embodiment of the soul, the conscience of the bridge crew. He is the matter to Spock's antimatter, with Kirk the balance point where the two views meet. That is absolutely correct. Hail, Salty
Yes.
Texas C. Everybody
Hello.
subscribe to Salty Texas C.
Yes.
He's got a secret project that I can't say that he's going to be doing for the holiday season. He just did his own version of the War of the Worlds audio or the radio drama. And I was privileged to be a part of that project. So I really appreciate the chance to work with a director, to do takes and to do voice acting. So it was pretty cool. So
nice.
But yeah, definitely he's been restoring a lot of movies, especially older movies that are in the public domain now, especially some silent movies. So but yeah, so definitely check him out. So
absolutely. One last thing I want to mention about my number one. Everything that I just said, that conversation, you know how we've talked about a couple times on this stream how McCoy is the only one that can hold Kirk accountable for himself. McCoy is also the only one outside of maybe Kirk that could get away with telling Spock that harsh of a truth. Suppose any old Joe off the street tried telling Spock that. How do you think he'd take it? If anything, he'd say that's you're very illogical to point that out.
You would be dismissive of it. He'd look at them and be like no, and then he'd go and resume his business.
Exactly. But McCoy, like I said, he's the only one that could get away with it. And not only that, but they were physically in a position where he couldn't just walk away from it, where he had no choice but to face it.
Yeah, he had him cornered. That's exactly what we saw him. Like the reason why I said what I said earlier is because remember how Bailey was trying to make an argument with Spock, and Spock just made it dismissive. Oh, you have adrenaline? I suggest you have it removed. And then Sulu's laughing at him, saying that, yeah.
So try to cross brains with Spock. He'll twist you every time.
He'll get teared to pieces, or something like that. Or you might be right. But yeah, so that's our number one. I mean, I guess it was my number 5. I don't know for sure. This was made for Paul. So everybody subscribe to Paul. I don't know if I added it to the description, the link. But you're still called the Star Wars guys, right?
Yes, we are still called Star Wars guys.
Formerly known as Fandomology, formerly known as the Star Wars guys because of a show called Kenobi, right? Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So a couple things we got coming up. Thursday, we are talking about the second half of Clone Wars Season 6 at 7 p.m. Eastern. You're actually invited to be part of that, Nerdporeal, if you'd like. That has the arc where Yoda learns the secret to immortality.
That's a great arc. That's a great arc. The episode I love that felt very cinematic was the episode where they're when he's on Dagobah and he's seeing visions of a possible future.
Yes. And then Friday, we are talking about episodes 6 through 10 of Teen Titans Season 1. So we're doubling up on the animation stuff this week. And then this coming Sunday, we're going to continue our journey through the Godzilla movies. I don't know quite yet which ones we're going to do, so stay tuned for that.
How far are you? So you saw the first one?
Yes, we finished the entire Heisei series, so from 1984 to 95.
Oh, so you already passed the Showa era, and now you already passed the Heisei?
No,
really?
Well, not necessarily. We've been going kind of out of order as far as going through the whole Showa era, then the Heisei era. We're done with the Heisei era, so now we're going back and finishing the Showa era.
Does the Heisei era include Shin Godzilla, the one that Hideaki Anno did?
That's a whole separate one. That one I don't believe came out until 2016.
Yeah, that's correct.
Heisei era had Godzilla raids again, Godzilla versus Biollante, Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, Mothra and Godzilla battle for Earth, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2, Godzilla versus Space Godzilla, and my absolute favorite, Godzilla versus Destoroyah.
Oh my gosh, Prophet gifted a membership. Oh my gosh, you didn't have to do that. Steve, I didn't do these things to demand a return from you. Because like I did too. He was doing a Final Fantasy VII remake stream, and I decided to be a nice guy and to gift 2 memberships. So I gifted 2 memberships. So now he's gifting membership. You don't have to gift memberships. You got 3 kids. You have to you have priorities. I don't have kids. You don't have to worry about me. So, but I appreciate you, Steve. You're my streaming brother. We've been doing so much stuff together. So, but yeah, everybody subscribe to Prophet of the Dragon. Hail the Lord Dragon. And holy crap! Wait a minute. Okay, he gifted another one. Come on, Steve. What are you doing? Gifting now? You're gifting 2 now. You got Zombie Main and Ben Thatcher have become the Prophet says you deserve it, bro. Oh, I appreciate that. So, but you don't have to do it. I don't expect anything in return. So, but yeah. So sorry to interrupt you, Paul.
No, it's fine.
I thought he said, because I know Akihito, the emperor, the son of Hirohito. All right, give me a second. Sorry, it's my madre calling. So,
I got you.
I got Salty renewed his membership. Thank you.
Awesome.
Stay Nerdporeal, you guys are awesome. So but yeah, what else you got going on? I'm sorry to interrupt you, Paul.
That's pretty much it. Of course, the next Tuesday will be the next Tuesday Night Trek, where we've started doing it officially now. It's TNG versus Deep Space Nine. So we compare each episodes. We review 3 episodes from each and then decide at the end who had the stronger block of episodes. And the score currently is tied 1-1 between TNG and Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, it's you're gonna enjoy Deep Space Nine. I mean, I don't know how you feel about more serialized, more arc-based storytelling. I mean, you've seen anime, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so DS9 would be close to like an anime, closer to an anime style of storytelling as opposed to an episodic one. So
right, which I remember when we first were going over the original series. And this was back when I was used to things like The Bad Batch, which was on at the time, and the Mandoverse, where those episodes do definitively follow from each other. And all of a sudden, here comes the original series, where each episode is its own self-contained story. That was something I wasn't used to.
Yeah.
Now it's the inverse of that, where I still like it, but I'm ready for something else from Star Trek. And I think it's good that Deep Space Nine has come along when it has.
So I want to say hello. I want to say thank you to Salty. He gifted another member. So Stephen Ransom is once again a member of my channel without being a member. So or without just signing up for it. So welcome back, everybody. And Prophet's like, yeah, I'm the donut guy. Yeah, you are the donut guy. I have to ask for the spirit of all of our in joking, Paul, what is your favorite donut? What is your preferred donut?
Well, first check the chat because I just did something.
What?
It should pop up right now.
Oh, we got a member. We got a new member.
Yes.
Paul is now a member of the Nerdporeal Continuum. I'm just going to warn you. Every time I click, he might vanish. You might.
Hey, that is perfectly fine.
But welcome. Thank you for joining.
You're welcome. But to answer your question, my favorite donut is a Boston cream donut.
We've been talking about that. Like Mags and Prophet have been talking about cream-filled Boston cream donuts for because it was a suggestive remark, and then he got clipped for it when he was playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it just went. And then Mags just took advantage of that and just went off the rails. Just kept saying cream donuts, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. So we've been Like we've been
Yeah.
talking donuts for like the last week, almost like a
We
week now,
have.
so. And is it going to go away? No, it's the internet. It's here forever. We're going to
Of
be talking about it
course.
forever. So, but yeah, I had a cream donut. I had a cream donut last week because of that. I'm probably going to get another one tonight. Probably going to get a Bavarian cream one from Dunkin' Donuts.
Prophet of the Dragon saying, Paul, you belong on my channel too. Great donuts.
Great donut
Yeah,
shows.
man. Like I said, I put my Twitter handle in the chat. Just message me and we'll see if we can get something worked out.
Yeah, Prophet and Prophet, Salty, all those guys who've read extensive fantasy are the reasons why I'm actually giving the Wheel of Time series, the book series, a second chance. So I've been reading the first book and been doing a stream, talking with him and a few others who are really, really big experts on the series who've read it several times. So yeah, I love the people I've met doing this and doing streaming and everything. I know you feel the same way, Paul. I mean, I think your channel was the first time I ever been on a stream. To be honest, you've been live streaming way longer than I have.
It might have been because you and I both met, of course, through watching Echo Base Network.
Yes,
and then I made the announcement because I started Tuesday Night Trek, admittedly on a whim. I wasn't even gonna. I knew I wanted to watch the movies, but I didn't. Initially, I kind of thought that the movies were all that there was. Until I found out that, there was a show. And initially I was going to watch just a certain number of shows to get ready for the movies. But then I found the whole show free on Amazon Prime. And I was like, you know what? Let's make a whole deal out of this. We're going to review the show. And thus, Tuesday Night Trek was born. And it has changed a lot since it came about. And I still say it's probably the strongest stream that we do. And isn't it ironic that on a channel called the Star Wars Guys, our most popular stream is Star Trek related?
In terms of views, in terms of watch hours,
and in terms of overall enthusiasm.
Yeah, that's true. All right, you got a sub sandwich, Paul. Yeah, Prophet subscribe to you.
Thank you.
So he's going to be expecting some he's be expecting some top fantasy content and some Final Fantasy content.
I will do my absolute best for that, and I'll tell you this: as far as gaming stuff goes, I hope you like a lot of Skyrim, Prophet, because there's a certain film McCracken that won't let me play anything other than that. But I do play other stuff too.
Have you played Elden Ring at all?
No. Okay, I tried the Souls type games and they're not for me.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. Like I'm playing it and how you've heard me complain about Breath of the Wild millions of times. I know nobody agrees with me, but you've heard me complain about Breath of the Wild. I know you feel kind of the same way, but I just I'm not a fan of just meandering in a world. I know a lot of people like to meander in a world, but I like to have purpose in playing a game. Or especially even an open world game. So like a game like Ghost of Tsushima or even Red Dead Redemption works because there's a little bit of structure, but you can also do whatever mission's available. You're not necessarily locked into doing a particular thing. So
yes. Also, to Prophet of the Dragon, the sub has been returned.
Can you believe I never played Skyrim? Yeah,
I could believe it.
Yeah,
but
we were talking. I forget. Not too long ago, we were talking. We're talking like Elder Scrolls in general. Like we're talking Oblivion, Fallout New Vegas. I forget whose stream I was talking. We were talking about it.
It was one of my streams. It was the two of us, Brandon, Phil, Stone Loki, and Purple Valkyrie, and that was on what is now the channel that just has my name, PJ Strassner, but it was for a while that I had it as a gaming channel called Master Paul's Game Room, which may start coming back. But yeah, that was a very fun stream.
So yeah, it was a great. Yeah, we did a lot of streams together. We talked Mario, we've talked Legend of Zelda several times. So yeah, I've been kind of between interviewing and I've been doing the serial horror chats. I'm kind of burned out from YouTube in general.
I understand.
So this is like, I don't know how often I'm going to do a Trekporeal. I want to see if I can get more people, but Paul, I like anytime you want to do a Trekporeal, just let me know if you have an idea. I will, I'll try and make it work. So I appreciate you kind of bringing this to me, wanting to do this. Sorry it took me so long to,
it is perfectly
to get this
fine,
going.
man.
But the fact that you wanted to do this, I like to respond to people that, if they want to do something, I'm willing to hear that. I'm willing to listen, because I'm not important enough where people send me millions of DMs wanting to collaborate. So I'm not that big of a deal yet. So, but hey, it's, but hey, that's a beauty too. That way I feel like I won't be, harassed like a celebrity or anything like other YouTubers are. So.
And to answer your question, Prophet, am I on the Twats? Yes, I am. I'm putting my handle in the chat now.
Steve, you should go to my Nerdporeal. I tweeted it, and Paul's handle's on my in my announcement. See, people, like that's the thing. Twitter has completely like smothered me. Like I have to tag people in order to get like any responses. I don't know what it is.
Well,
you are
that's
the
just kind of how it works
for
sometimes.
Forbidden Plant. Forbidden Plant. You mean Forbidden Planet? Yeah.
Forbidden Planet is marijuana.
That's true. Maybe that's why everybody's clicking on that stream.
Maybe so.
4.7% click rate is what is, which is high. So that's why people are going crazy. So, all right. Well, Paul, thank you for doing this. Thanks for bringing this. No problem. This was a cool stream. Hopefully, thankfully the stream came back. Hopefully there's no, repercussions from putting all that stuff. So next time I'll be a little bit more careful about that.
Yeah.
So I'll just show pictures next time, and clips of pictures.
You should be able, the part where we were cut from the air, you should be able to edit that part out.
Yeah, I can do that easily. So, all right. But other than that, everybody, take care. And Paul, what do you say to people when you say goodbye?
I always say thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe, to like and subscribe, of course, to both of us if you haven't already. And just remember, and I'm going to do the Tuesday Night Trek variant, live long and prosper, because the Force is family.
All right, everybody, may the wings of Nerdporeals carry you to good entertainment and happiness. Take care.